Okay, so today is 4.3, factoring using sum/product method. So yesterday you learned GCF and dots. Today we're going to learn another method. Okay, so if we see y equals x squared plus bx plus c, we can use the sum/product method to factor. Okay, now key thing is there cannot be a number in front of x squared. Like it always needs to be a 1, right? Or like nothing's there. Only then can you use the method that we're talking about today, which is called the sum/product method. Okay, so you'll see why it's called the sum/product method. We're going to start by doing a problem. So let's say we have x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now our first step is whatever our constant, our c is, in this case it's 8, we're going to find the factor pairs of 8. Okay, so numbers that multiply to 8. So I can think of 1 and 8, and I think of 2 and 4. There is nothing else. So we want to think of which of these combinations, 1 and 8 or 2 and 4, will add to 6. Now, obviously, like 1 and 8 can't add to 6. 8 minus 1, it doesn't add to 6. But 4 and 2 actually do add to 6, right? If they're both positive, 2 plus 4 will actually add to 6. So now I can write out my factored version, right? So I'm going to have x, and then whatever my first thing is, that goes next. So plus 2, and then I have x, and then plus 4, okay? So whatever these numbers are, that's what goes in. And remember, this is our standard form, and this is our factored form now, right? And if you notice, you can actually go back to standard form by doing the box method or FOIL, right? So we're kind of doing like the opposite of FOIL. Let's do another question. Let's say we have x squared minus 13x plus 40. So same thing. I start with finding the factor pairs of 40. Now, let's say you're not that strong in your times table. You can actually use your calculator to find the factor pairs. So the way that we do that, let's say we go to our calculator, you're going to hit y equals, and whatever our constant is, in this case it's 40, you're going to do 40 divided by x. So whatever the number is divided by x. So if you do that and then you go to the table, you will actually see all the factor pairs, right? So 1 and 40, 2 and 20, these are all factor pairs, 4 and 10, 5 and 8, and then they just start again, 8 and 5, etc. So you can actually write down then these factor pairs. So we saw 1 and 40, we saw 2 and 20, and we saw 4 and 10, and we saw 5 and 8, right? And so again, you want to ask yourself which of these factor pairs can combine to negative 13, right? 40 and 1, there's like no way that can combine to 13 because 40 plus 1 is 41, 40 minus 1 is 39, like no way. 20 plus 2 is 22, 20 minus 2 is like 18, which is not 13. 10 plus 4 is 14, that's close but not quite. 10 minus 4 is 6, so no. So 5 and 8. 8 plus 5 is actually, yeah, that gives us 13. But since we want negative 13, we're going to make both of them negative. Because negative 5 minus 8, if you do that in your calculator, negative 5 minus 8, that is in fact going to give you negative 13. So again, we write out our final form. We have x, and then whatever the first factor pair is, right? And then we have x, and then whatever the next factor pair is. And you can totally write it like x minus 8, x minus 5. The order does not matter because in the end, it's the same thing, okay? We're going to do one more question together, right? The biggest thing about these questions is the signs, right? You got to be very careful about the signs. So let's say we have x squared minus 4x minus 60. Obviously, we're going to find the factor pairs of 60. Let's actually write down, go to y equals, just so you have this in your notebook. Put in c over x, check table. Those are the steps for the calculator if you need to find the factor pairs. So that's to find the factor pairs. So I'm going to go to y equals, now we're doing 60. So go to y equals, clear everything. We're going to do 60 divided by x. Whatever the constant is divided by x, second table. We're going to start at 1. So we have 1 and 60, 1 and 60. Oops, 1 and 60. We have 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. And then, yeah, it then goes backwards. So we're going to write all those down. So we have 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. Like, goes on forever. So again, you want to think to yourself, which of these factor pairs can give you 4? 60 plus 1 is 61. 60 minus 1 is 59. No. 30 and 2, there's just no way that can give you 4 if you add or subtract. Same with 20 and 3. 15 plus 4 is 19. 15 minus 4 is 11, so no. 12 minus 5 is 7. 12 plus 5 is 17. So 10 and 6, well, if I subtract those, that definitely gives me 4. Now, I want negative 4, so I need to ask myself, hey, which one needs to be negative? Since it's negative, you want to make the bigger number negative, the smaller number positive. Because if you put this in your calculator, 6 minus 10, that is, in fact, going to give you negative 4. So our answer is going to be x plus 6, x minus 10, right? And that's our factored form. We factored it, okay? Try the problems.